This is Michael Orrell of MobileBurn.com, and today I have with me the Samsung i637 Jack, the successor to AT&T's Blackjack 2, which was a very successful Windows Mobile-powered smartphone. You can see this runs the same version of the OS. It's Windows Mobile 6.1, the standard edition, so there's no touchscreen. And talking about the screen, it's the same QVGA resolution 2.4-inch display that we saw on the original Blackjack 2. Other features that have changed include the new keyboard, and we'll show you a comparison later, but basically it's the same layout in terms of key placement except for a couple punctuation marks, same size even between keys. It's just the keys have been made larger so that they butt up against each other. Looks better, I think, but it's probably not as easy to field as the original Blackjack 2. The Jack does lose the scrolling D-pad of the original Blackjack 2, but instead what it does is it gains something called turbo scroll. The D-pad's actually pressure sensitive, so you can hold it down lightly to move slowly, or you can press it hard to skip large number of items at a time. It works good on some situations, like this home screen here. But inside scrolling lists for email and contacts and stuff, it doesn't seem to be that effective. I still prefer the scrolling mechanism from the Blackjack 2. On the upside, though, we do receive Wi-Fi connectivity, which the Blackjack 2 lacked altogether. If we compare the Jack and the Blackjack 2 side by side, you can see that the Jack is a shorter device, even though it has the same basic width and thickness as the Blackjack 2. On top of that, it's also about 12 grams lighter. That's in spite of the fact that it has a larger 1480 milliamp hour battery, which gets 7 hours of talk time versus the 5.5 hours of talk time that the Blackjack 2 was able to manage. If we pull in closer and look at the keyboards, you can see that even though they're quite different in design, they are roughly spaced the same way. We'll run through the physical design on the Jack. You can see that the control cluster is a little bit different, maybe a little more cramped, but it doesn't seem to be a problem when I'm using it. Changing the D-pad, of course, from the Blackjack 2. On the left edge here we have the power key, which brings up the shortcut menu, and then there's also this odd-looking volume control. Nothing on the bottom except for the microphone pinhole. On the right edge there's nothing but the proprietary Samsung power and data port, also for headsets, and it comes with a 3.5mm headset adapter. One of the upgrades on the device is the new 3.2 megapixel camera, but sadly it still lacks autofocus. Nothing much to see up on the top. Attractive design, maybe a bit derivative of the BlackBerry Bold, but I think it's going to be popular with the business set. Whereas the Blackjack 2, especially in the burgundy color scheme, was maybe a little too aggressive looking. Here's the default home screen from Windows Mobile 6.1 that comes with the Blackjack. There are a couple of different variations you can load up with and without media, without some of the AT&T services like the Express Mail. And in general, most of them look like this. There are the standard, old-fashioned kind of Windows 6.0 look with just rows of information coming down, which is actually quite good for getting to information quickly, but not nearly as aesthetically pleasing. Main menu, the start menu, is just a grid of icons. Move through with the D-pad. Number of AT&T applications preloaded or shortcuts to them, like the AT&T Navigator, which takes advantage of the built-in GPS support. Support for singular video, other applications like that. You can also see that the internet sharing application is preloaded into the menu, which is always nice to see. We've pulled up Pocket Internet Explorer, the default browser for the device. You can see we recently ran a speed test from DSLreports.com. We managed 690 kbits per second download, which is pretty decent for an HSDPA device. We're going to pull up the favorites and go to the Mobile Burn homepage, the mobile formatted version, just so you can see how it looks. Pocket IE is nothing to write home about. It can't really handle regular HTML sites the way Opera or even Opera Mini can, but it's useful for mobile sites like this. Although we have to admit that we would prefer to have that scrolling D-pad back, which is really nice for going through long web pages rather than using the D-pad like this. We're going to test out the camera, most easily brought up by pressing the dedicated key on the keyboard here. So there's not much to it. Nice menu system. Easy to see where all the options are and change them. It's quite nice in that regard. The lack of autofocus, though, really makes a lot of this a non-issue, because you're just going to take, fairly standard-looking snapshots with it. It's nothing you're going to be wanting to print or anything like that. But at least the user interface is nice. You can see that we can switch into camcorder mode as well, and that we can record video at QVGA resolution. Now we're recording video, and we'll play it back in a second. Pull up the gallery here. Here's our videos. Now we're recording video, and we'll play it back in a second. Nothing too amazing, but still nice to have.